I'm sitting here with Ari Weinzweig in Ann Arbor, Michigan, recording Zingerman's Guide to Giving Great Service. And I thought I would ask a couple questions that we all want the answers to. So first of all, Ari, can you tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into Zingerman's Deli?
I can. It's an accident, really. I came up to Ann Arbor to go to school. I grew up in Chicago, and I came up here and I studied Russian history, which is a really critical major for the food business. I had a particular interest in the anarchists, actually, and in Soviet dissidents. And I guess after I graduated, I really only knew I didn't want to go back to Chicago, and I didn't have a lot of money, so I knew I needed a job. And one of my roommates was waiting tables at a restaurant here in town, and it seemed like a good place to work. And so I went in and applied for a job, and the only job they had was washing dishes, and I didn't know you weren't supposed to want to wash dishes, so I took it. And that's how I started in the food business. And I feel incredibly fortunate, actually, because I met some great people. Paul Saginaw, who's my partner in the deli since we started in '82, was the general manager at that restaurant. And Frank Carollo, who's one of our partners at the bakehouse, was a line cook. And Maggie Bayless, who's one of our partners in Zingtrain, which is our consulting and training business, was a waitress. And, you know, here we all are, 20-something years later, we're all still friends and partners, and we actually like working together. So the other big thing about it is I really had no intention of going into the food business. I just sort of stumbled into it, and I grew up on, Kraft macaroni and cheese and green Jell-O with pears and hot dogs, baked beans, and that sort of thing. So I didn't really intend to get into it, and I really came to love the food and came to love cooking, and so I feel really lucky.
So what made you decide to actually start Zingerman's?
Well, I stayed and I worked for that restaurant along with Paul. I worked there for about 4 years, and I started prepping and line cooking and got into management. And, the more I worked with the food, the more I really liked it. And I got to the point, I guess, about 4 years in where it became increasingly clear to me that my vision of what great food was and of how to handle or manage people was those views were getting further apart from theirs. And so I decided it was time to do something else. And Paul and I had talked off and on over the years about opening our own place, and just happened a week after I gave my 2 months notice, he called and said that this building that the deli turned out to be in was coming open and we should go look at it. And we did. And 4 months later, we opened.
So tell us this. How did you come up with the Zingerman's name?
Well, we actually made it up, as you just experienced by trying to say mine. It's extremely difficult to pronounce. Paul's last name is Saginaw, which actually...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?